covers? Because it's key information.
Well, we try to cover, we do this through the history of the Bible, starting in the first century, showing how the Gospels were set forth, and then how there are a lot of warnings. I mean, of course, I'm a Christian, so, I believe the teachings of the Bible, and we show how Jesus and all of the apostles had warned of grievous wolves that would enter into the church and that would misuse the Christian faith for their own selfish designs. And so those warnings begin, and then we move up forward into the early centuries, and ultimately the conflict really in Rome between Christianity and paganism. And that conflict came to, or what seemed like it came to an end, with Constantine the Great in 313 A.D. And Constantine was the famous general. Rome was a tetrarchy. It was governed by 4 emperors. And then Constantine sees this vision where he sees supposedly a cross emblazoned on the sun, and he hears a voice tell him, "In this sign, conquer." And so he then adopts the sign of the cross. He believes the vision is from Christos or Christ, and he uses this symbol, goes into battle, defeats his enemies, and Rome becomes a single system under a single emperor.
All right, stay there. We're coming back. We're going to roll through this history with Chris Pinto. The new film, the 4th in the series, A Lamp in the Dark, The Untold History of the Bible, available on DVD at Infowars.com.
Who is Sam Andy? Sam Andy Foods is life insurance in a can. Life insurance you can eat. Sam Andy Foods has been serving loyal customers worldwide for over 50 years. Why so long? Simple. Sam Andy Foods have perfected the taste and quality of low-moisture foods. Foods that last 15 to 25 years. And that's made us an industry leader among families, sportsmen, outdoorsmen, churches, schools, people living in remote areas, U.S. troops in wartime, and many others. Sam Andy is America's leading supplier of over 100 high-quality, low-moisture products and everything you need to survive in any emergency. Visit SamAndy.com today for your free full-color catalog and free trial subscription to the Survival Times newsletter. That's SamAndy.com. Just like it sounds, SamAndy.com. Or call toll-free 1-888-331-0358. Your one-stop shop for everything your family needs to prepare for any emergency. Sam Andy Foods. Life insurance in a can.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv.
Originally, we the people have entrusted government to be the guardians of currency, to ensure purity, content, weights, and measures of gold and silver coins citizens would use for commerce. This reinstalled confidence after the demise of the fiat continental system, wisdom being lost with time. The government we once entrusted to protect from counterfeit has colluded with private business, creating the largest fiat counterfeiting scheme our country ever experienced. This is not only a transfer of power to an institution that is not accountable to our elected government, but has also caused the dollar to lose more than 90 cents of its original value. Now foreign governments are trying to divest themselves from this once world reserve currency. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm offering a book that explains how the system works. Call me today at 800-686-2237. I will give you a silver dollar free just for purchasing the book. Call today at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
Of the 3 million plus edible food plants that grow on Earth, no other single plant can compare with the nutritional value of the powder, seeds, and oil of the hemp plant. At hempusa.org, we ship worldwide these nutritional products with free shipping to the U.S. and Canada. At hempusa.org, we want to educate our listeners that edible hemp is not marijuana and is certified THC-free. Our powder is 50% protein and does not contain gluten. Gluten impairs the cells from absorbing nutrients. This nutrient-dense food can be stored up to 5 years when vacuum-packed and is priced affordably to be used as a storable food. HempUSA.org is a bulk shipper starting with 5 pounds and up. To allow this food to work for you, call 908-691-2608 or go to HempUSA.org and order today. The body will react and heal itself given the proper nutrition. This superfood will be your greatest asset. So try it today, store it today, and change your life. Call 908-691-2608 or order from HempUSA.org.
Okay, let's go right back to Chris Pinto. So you were getting into Constantine right before the fall of the Roman Empire, 100 years later. Continue.
Constantine was the first to legalize Christianity there in Rome with the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. So he legalizes Christianity, and then Christianity is, over time, merged with the pagan ideas or the pagan belief system of Rome. And Constantine, it's said, if you read different historians, that he confused Christos with the god Mithras, the sun god of the ancient world. And there are some, like when you see these big statues of Constantine, there's a very famous head and his arm and leg and this kind of thing. These were gigantic statues that he had set up around his empire with him dressed up like Sol Invictus, the sun god. And he believed he was the manifestation of Sol Invictus. Well, it said that Constantine took to himself as Caesar. He became the sole emperor of Rome. He had the title Pontifex Maximus. That's the title for the Caesar. That meant he was the head of the Pontifical College, the head of the pagan priesthood. So he adopted another title as the head of the Christian church, and he called himself Vicarius Christi, meaning another Christ, or the substitute for Christ, one who stands in the place of Christ. And so he would govern the pagans and he would govern the Christians with these two titles. And then in time, of course, he leaves Rome because of all the politics involved. He goes and he founds Constantinople, and then Rome falls to the barbarian tribes and this kind of thing. And in the aftermath, the popes arise as the bishops of Rome, and they claim these two titles of Constantine, the Vicar of Christ, Vicarius Christi, and Pontifex Maximus, which they hold to this day. That's why the Pope is called the Pontiff. But anyway, so then from there, this system now, because Constantine had set forth the edict against heretics. And so now heretics, before, if you read the New Testament, if somebody's guilty of heresy, they would ask them to depart from the church, or, as in the case of, when the Apostle Paul is at the school of Tyrannus, he just separates the disciples from the unbelievers. They would separate themselves from people who disagreed. But now Constantine, the state steps in, and Constantine is passing laws that people who disagree on certain doctrinal issues have to be hunted down, arrested, in some cases killed, and so on, for heresy. And if you can to this day go online and read Constantine's different writings against the heretics, and it's very aggressive. You can see the violence in his words. And there are some who believe that was really the beginning of what would become the Dark Ages, when the Roman Church now would begin to persecute everyone who disagreed with the official state doctrines and so on. And so we take it up, but what we show is that with the formation of the Roman Catholic system, there were still believers, Bible believers, who were never a part of the Roman system. And from the histories that we have, many of these groups fled into the north of Italy and the south of France, and they became known as the Paulicians. They were known as the Donatists in some cases, the Waldenses, the Albigenses. They've been given different names, but probably the Waldenses and the Albigenses are the two most famous.
And from reading the history from the beginning, the so-called Christian Roman emperors, they would particularly persecute other Christian sects that they didn't control and ignore the pagans, but then later they started going after everybody, or how did that work?
That's how, just what you said is what seems to have happened. Mainly the Inquisitions began. We kind of fast forward because those, from the 5th century up till about the 10th, 11th century, it's difficult to find the records of what happened, fully and completely. And there's